Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Learning Torah Lishma. I want to help. I wanted to get to this in the last year, but I saw we went off on an important discussion, so we left it there. But let's get back to it. I want to continue to help boys and girls, young men, young women that are getting into the dating field, trying to get married. Some unfortunately have been there for 10 years, nothing. So sad. Once every 2 years something's suggested, but then you never actually meet the person, and it's 10 years already. The way people are thinking of you. You could have people that you would think that you can trust, and they just think of you as a nebuch, because the system today makes everybody look like a nebuch. There's very few people that don't look like a nebuch. You understand? And therefore, because you're nebuch, they think that they're doing mercy upon you by giving you this shidduch that no one wants. I want to continue to help you when you're trying to meet a girl, and specifically in this scenario when you're, let's say, going to a shadchan or going to someone and asking them to help you to get married, to help you find the shidduch. So, if you listen to me, you already know that resume is not the way to go. You got to meet the person. Even in business, resume is not the way to go. You got to meet the person. Now in business, after you meet the person, you could ask for a resume. You understand? But when it comes to marriage, theoretically you could ask for a resume, but if it didn't hit off, you understand? For a marriage, you're going to be for your whole life together, hopefully, right? If you don't feel that surge of connection, then there's no reason to go to resume. If you think that this person is bad, there's nothing to talk about when it comes to marriage. When it comes to work, it's work. You understand? You could fire them the next day. They get a job somewhere else. Firing is a part of work. But when it comes to marriage, there's no firing. You got to be in sync. You got to really trust. You got to really believe. You really have to want that person. And if it's not there, you think a resume is going to bring it? You think just because you have cohabitation, it's going to bring it? Oh no, you're gravely mistaken. You got married, but really your whole marriage is a harlot. That's it is. It's not a marriage. So therefore, and again, could go back to my show where I talk about it in more detail, according to my abilities that Hashem has given me. When it comes to marriage, when you meet that girl, when you as a girl, when you meet that boy, it has to feel nafshi. She's my soul. He's my soul, nafshi. That's what you gotta feel. If it's not there, then it's not the right one. Now, people have this difficulty that when they meet the shatan, when they are talking to a friend, to someone that they're trying to ask them to help them to get married, they have this difficulty because even if you say, I want to meet the person, whether it is in their parents' house, whether they come to my parents' house, whether I go to their grandparents' house and meet her there, you understand? However it happens, whether I take her out for coffee or I take her to a pizza shop, whatever it is, I'm not a person that holds of taking them to bars, that it's somehow not sneas, it's not proper etiquette for singles to go out in a Jewish community. I think that's completely against the Torah. It should be the most beautiful thing that a Jewish boy and a Jewish girl are going out in the pizza shop. It should be the most beautiful thing possible. More beautiful than all the delicacies at a Shabbos table, at a Shabbos Suda. You understand? That's what I understand the Torah to say. If anybody thinks otherwise, I challenge you to explain that to me. So if you tell them, well, I want that, this is, I'm looking for coffee dates, and you try to explain it to them, they're like, a bit shocked, and you explain that, when it comes to marriage, it has to be nafshi. You understand? It needs to be nafshi. It says this method, I just feel it's the method for something else. But when it comes to the spouse is so deep, it's nafshi. My wife is so deep, it's nafshi. My husband is so deep, it's nafshi. And therefore, I'm only going to do a coffee date. However she likes it. Do the first one by her parents' house. The first few dates, how about she tells me? You understand? If she wants me to pick, I'll pick. But I'm just saying, she wants the first date by her parents' house, whatever. Let me know. You understand? Let her know that. If that's where she feels more comfortable, 100%. So, if you get through this first hurdle, which is not so easy, and even if you do get through to it, right, they don't tell you that they don't have anybody that does coffee dates. They don't tell you that, right? They make you go through this whole thing. So, you need to sort of ask, before we get into all the details, can I just ask you respectfully, do you have girls that want coffee dates? That's what I would ask. If you were a girl, you would say, do you have boys that want coffee dates? Now, they go on to say, well, I want a resume for me. The shotgun saying for me. Shatchanim are extremely tricky. So, because once you give her a resume, then she'll ask, or he'll ask later. Usually it's the girls that are a bit more tricky, but then he'll ask later. Then she'll ask later, well, can I just give it to them? You understand? They're very smooth. They might even give it without you knowing. You understand? It's like once you allow that impurity to enter it, it ruins everything. You want to keep it pristine. You want to keep it nafshi. So, you tell them like this. You say that I want a girl that it's nafshi, that she sees my beauty. I don't have to sit and, she sees my goodness. It's not that I have to prove myself to her. You understand? And I want a girl that I could see her goodness, her nafshi, without, that it's nafshi, without her having to prove herself to me. And therefore, I need a meet. Because once a resume comes in, you're proving. You have to prove yourself. You understand? And a marriage is so deep that it rises above proof, even to the extent that after you met the person, you still don't do resume. That's how high it is. If you're thinking that you need resume, then it's not the right one, or maybe you have to work on yourself. You understand? So the shotgun's going to ask, well, I just want it for me. Once they get your resume, they pull you into the world of resume. So there's a few approaches to this. One is a simple approach. You tell them, listen, explain to me what you're saying you need it. What do you need it for? Could you explain it to me? They're going to say this, this, and that. You say, okay, I'm not going to give you a resume, but I'm going to give you a number that you call about what you just asked. You understand? And usually they speak like nonsense. Well, maybe in their minds, well, you never know. Maybe this Jewish boy or Jewish girl, but usually the boys get it harder. Maybe this Jewish boy that was brought up Jewish, went to regular Jewish schools, maybe he's going to kidnap her. You never know, right? You never know. This is how they think. Such dumbbells. So you need to ask them what. Because, just explain to me what you want to know. And if they're just like, no, it's just things and this and that, they say, listen, I really want you to be able to help me, and, I really appreciate you wanting to help, but I need to understand what, because I suggest something, and then people are like, no, but I wanted this. So just tell me to begin with what you want. What are you afraid of? So some of them will actually say what I just said. They'll say things like that, right? Don't sit and argue with them. You could just give. So you say, listen, I'm not going to give a resume because I don't really hold a resume. You ask these questions. I'm going to give you someone that knows me. And if they don't think that that's an issue, right, then we could go on from there, correct? And that's how you do it. That's one way. And this is like for people that are more beginners, this is much easier for them to go about. It's a way to go about it. People who've already been many years, and, they're a bit more manly or womanly, understand? And if people at the beginning want to do this as well, it's also good, you understand? I think this second thing that I'm going to say is the best, but I just said the first because I understand that people might need that first way, but I wanted to say how to do it properly and what's going to happen if you do it improperly, like we just said. Okay. The second way is you say to them, you ask them, may I ask you a question? You say to them, could you please explain to me, what is a shadchan? Tell me. You know, you're the adult, you're the older adult in the room. Don't just say they're the adults. Say you're the older adult in the room. Or you could say you're the shadchan adult in the room. Let's say you're older than them. You tell me, what is a shadchan? A shadchanit? What is a matchmaker? And they're going to say this, and that. After everything, they probably will never get it, but if they do hit upon it, you say, oh. But what the essence of a matchmaker, of a shadchan, the essence of them, the essence of a shadchanit is that they have a good sense about people and who would be good together. You understand? That's the essence of a shadchan. Not that they're a therapist, not that they're the most smartest person in the world. No. They have a good sense. There are people that they have a sense, but they have a very bad sense, right? Or they don't have such a good sense. And then there's people that have a very good sense. You two would make an awesome couple. It's not that they could prove it on a piece of paper, that there's some type of unbroken logical chain, that for some reason that's the way people look at it. They're like they need an unbroken logical chain all the way from when the child was born until this moment. You understand? And beyond. They even want to know, well, what do you think about in the future, right? They want to, understand? That's not a shadchan. That's a therapist. It's two different things. A shadchan understands nafshi. The nefesh is something beyond this world. It's something magical. When I say magical, I mean spirituality is magic. It's something spiritual. It's not a creation of this world. It's something beyond. And a shadchan, a matchmaker, a shadchanit is someone that has the ability to see the nafshi in this girl, to see the nafshi in this boy, and see that benafshi they fit together. And you suggest them to meet. And then ultimately, they're making the decision whether they feel that nafshi as well. But that's what a real shadchanit is. A real shadchan, a real matchmaker is. They sense nafshi. When the girl's going to ask, well, is he going to be a good husband? And what do you know if he does this? If he does that? Does he learn? Does he daven 3 times a day? Is he learning every day? Is he this? Is he that? How much money does he make? All these questions. How tall is he? Is he fat or skinny? All these questions. She says, a matchmaker doesn't answer these questions. A matchmaker, her claim is not that she's a therapist. A matchmaker's claim, a shadchanit's claim, is that she sees nafshi. She has a pretty good ability to sense nafshi. And when they ask you all these questions, girls, they ask a lot of questions. Boys, it's like 1 or 2 questions. You understand? Girls, they can have tons and tons of questions. You say to her, I just want to tell you, he's You know, you talk about it generically. You know, for a girl, for a boy, you tell him that she's, you know, she's so beautiful, she's so kind, she's so edel. You know, she's such a nice person. You know, in generic, you don't get into specifics. For a girl, you'll say, you know, he's so caring, so loving, so understanding. He's, you know, he's well-to-do. You understand? He's such a spiritual person. He's so connected to God. But when she wants to go into specifics, you tell her that I work with nafshi. I sense nafshi. I sense when there's a soul that was split in half in this world, and now they're trying to reconnect. I sense that nafshi, the two people that are split. That's what I sense. So all these things that you're telling me, all these details, that's not my job. Because my job is to find your soulmate, and that's nafshi. And this, I think, is one. This, I think it is. But at the end of the day, you'll have to see if you feel that nafshi as well. And you got to be stubborn. I'm nafshi, that's it. Don't allow them. Girls can sometimes be very persuasive. Don't allow them. I'm nafshi. That's it. And this is what you explain to the shatchanit, to the shatchan, to the matchmaker. That I'm looking for someone who understands nafshi. Understand, in English it's called a soulmate. Why is it called a soulmate? Because that one that you marry, she's actually, or he's actually a part of my soul. And the two souls are trying to reconnect. We are actually one. That's why it's called a soulmate, because really together you make a complete soul. And you say, I want someone that has the ability to see nafshi. To see soulmate. Like checkmate, like a mate that now I'm complete. Now I found. Now I you know, the whole life you're going through the chessboard. There's all these this and that, and then finally it's checkmate. You that's it. Now you became one. This is my soul. You finally found the other half to your soul. I need a shatchan that can do that. So I respect if you work a different way, if this, you understand, if you can't do this, I understand that, but that's what I'm looking for. And therefore, if the shatchan sits and says, I need to see a résumé, that means that they don't see nafshi. They don't see soul. They don't see that. And I'm looking for nafshi. So, you see, so let's say, how you would tell them. You tell them, just like I'm looking for a woman who I'm nafshi, that when I see her, when she sees me, it's nafshi. I want a shatchan who sees who could see that if we met, it would become nafshi. They have a good sense of that. So if you need all these questions, I'm not looking for that type of shatchan. I'm looking for a shatchan that has the power of nafshi. So let me know if you're able to. If you're not, totally respect that. Who could you suggest? Don't when you learn the hard way. When it comes to shidduchim, don't sit and think you're going to change them. Even if they realize what you're saying is true, if they're not doing it, don't think they're going to change. Just ask them. Just find it's hard today. It's hard to find real tzaddikim. It's hard to find real tzidkaniyos. It's hard to find real rebbes and real rosh hashivas and real chachams, and it's hard to find real. But you have to be only real. And you ask them, who do you know that has a good sense of these things? That I don't have to sit and do this whole proving thing. That they could see me and they could see nafshi. They could see this nefesh and that nefesh. They really belong together. They're really one soul. Who does that? And usually they'll have someone, and you sometimes might have to go through this process a few times, and then you'll finally find someone that's nafshi, that has the ability to see nafshi. Hopefully, by just telling them this, they could say, oh yes, we could do that. You understand? But if not, which is probably the more likely scenario, you're gonna find nafshi. And those people might say, wow, I'm so impressed that he understands things in such a deep way. They might bump into a girl and their nafshi might start working because of you. You understand? But don't waste time with people that don't understand it, that maybe do understand it, that do understand it, but don't do it. You need to find people that understand it and want to do it. You understand? That's what you need to find. And that's how you could go about it. So I hope this has helped you. Going through all these things in all this depth, it's great joy that I believe that this could really, really help people, especially if it's done on a large scale. If we have shatchanim, shatchanits, we have matchmakers that say, that's it. We are done with the falseness. We're only doing the truth. And a big aspect of following the truth is, if your whole parnasa is reliant on shidduchim, on making matches, then you automatically get forced into whatever is the norm. But if you want to do truth, you have to be successful, and on the side, you do shidduchim. Doesn't mean you have to do it for free. That would be amazing if you did, but doesn't mean you could charge $200, $500. You understand? I'm telling you, don't charge $1,000. You could, but don't. Why? Because you want to be a blessing, and you think if and now your people now have an option of $500. You're going to bring down the cost, as opposed to now it keeps going up. Now it's like $2,500. You understand? That's what Shatchanim are trying to push to. 1,000 is a given. You make it 500. You start bringing the trend back. You understand? And Hashem will bless you. Don't worry. Don't worry. You're not gonna go starving over doing such a chesed, helping people get married, which is like the greatest thing you could do in this world. Even greater than burying the mace, mace mitzvah, even greater than burying the dead, is two people that are alive to give them life, marriage. That's even greater. When you bury a dead person, that was it. When you bring life to a live person, to live people, you get them married. There's a child that's born, another child. It's greater than Meis Mitzvah. It's greater. Let us go in Hashem's ways, in His B'chol Derecha De'ehu, the ways of Hashem. Is loving kindness, it's goodness. Let's do it. I love you and Hashem loves you more.